Hey guys, we're going to do a little bit of a cooking video. This is my wife Michelle. She's the one behind the scenes that prepares all our tasty meals when we come home with the goods. So yeah, she's going to be cooking up some rabbit rissoles, which Jamie and I shot a few rabbits a little while back. So I'll leave it in her capable hands and she'll take you through the steps on how we prepare them.
So what I thought I would do is just take you through the process of what we do once the meat gets brought home, and then take you through what I'm putting into these rabbit rissoles. Alrighty, so here we've got our bunny mince. So when the guys brought the bunnies home, we started off by getting them all skinned and cleaned up properly. So once they were all cleaned up, we actually put them into a brining solution. And the reason we put it into the brining solution is it helps to put moisture into the meat. So as well as putting moisture in, you can also put salt into it, and you can also add flavours in. So for these rabbits we actually put some thyme into the water as well, because thyme is a really nice floral herb that pairs really nicely with rabbit. So yeah, that was our process with that. Alright, so what I've done there is I have just put some spring onions into the rabbit mince. Spring onion, it's going to give you a nice onion flavour obviously, but it will also add a little bit of moisture, and the flavour of it isn't going to be too overpowering, so you can really taste that rabbit meat coming through. To go with the rabbit for these rabbit rissoles, I've chosen sage to go with it. So sage is a really nice, more woody herb, and the flavour of it goes really, really well with rabbit. It's not too overpowering like something like rosemary would be, but it's a little bit stronger than what the thyme would be. So we'll just grate up the zucchini. Lots of B vitamins in them. It adds a lot of fibre, and it also helps to add moisture into the rissole. Because the rabbits aren't a particularly fatty meat, yeah, they kind of need that little bit of extra moisture in them to make sure that they're nice and succulent while you're eating them. And then just grating the carrot to go along with it as well. Most of my vegetables I'll leave the skin on, because a lot of the nutrient value of the vegetables are actually in the skin. So far in there we've got 250 grams of rabbit meat. It's about half a zucchini and just a pretty small size carrot that's gone into it, as well as 2 spring onions. So I'm also going to add garlic into it. So we'll just whack a teaspoon of garlic in there, and then of course we need to make sure that it's seasoned properly. So for 250 grams of meat, it needs about half a teaspoon of salt that goes into it. And we'll also add an egg into that as well. And again, that's just to help with the binding because it doesn't have a lot of fat in it. And then we mix it up. So mix it around. So the mixture is going to be quite wet at this stage, and that's okay. We just want to make sure that we've got everything all mixed into it and make sure we've got a good ratio in there, which it looks pretty good at this stage. So what we'll do next is add some breadcrumbs into it. So the breadcrumbs are going to absorb the moisture from the zucchini when it cooks down, and it's going to, again, make sure that it actually stays nice and moist while we're cooking them. And for this amount of mix, we would put in about half a cup of breadcrumbs. I make my own breadcrumbs out of old bread, so I've always got some in the freezer ready to go. So we'll mix that around, and you'll notice when I start mixing that in that it starts to absorb a little bit of that extra liquid. It's not as wet as what it was before. So guys, that's all we do at this stage. We want to let the breadcrumbs absorb a little bit more of that moisture. Salt that we've put in there will help extract some of the moisture out of the zucchini, which is also going to add to it being a really nice moist mix. The only other thing that I did forget that I was going to put in there was some kidney beans. So the kidney beans, not going to affect the flavour at all, it's just going to bulk out the meat a little bit. It also adds in extra protein into the dish, and it also adds in a few more vitamins that are needed in our diet. So we will mash those in there just to sort of get them in there a little bit better. Beautiful. Alrighty, so we'll just let that rest and let the flavours all get into the meat, and then we'll get them crumbed and get them cooking. Alright guys, so now we've just had the rabbit mince sitting for a little while, so we will start the crumbing. So in my bowl here I have just got some breadcrumbs. I've put in a pretty big pinch of salt and some garlic powder because I like garlic, and I think that it's really nice in the crumb mixture. So I form about dessert spoonful risole size portions and just make sure that they're really nicely coated in the breadcrumbs. And it just gives it that little bit of extra to help bind it when you're cooking them. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the rest of these. Beautiful, so this is the last one that we've got going in to the crumb mix. Most wild meat that you get doesn't have a lot of fat on it, so it's really important to remember to get the moisture content into your food, just so as that it doesn't dry out when you're cooking it. So we'll get to cooking. I've preheated the pan here. I always use olive oil to cook with. It's a good healthy fat. Just turn that pan down just a little bit because I reckon we've got it screaming hot there. Whack these in. You'll notice I've got my glass of wine here, and in case you were wondering, white wine pairs really well with rabbit, especially when you're drinking it. You really need to make sure your pan's nice and hot. Just cook them on either side until they're browned all over, and the crumbs are nice and golden. Because we've packed them with vegetables, it's really not going to take that long to cook them. So yeah, you just sit back and relax and enjoy the wine. So our rissoles are almost done. We're just doing the last turn on them. They've started to firm up really nicely. And they'll only be another couple of minutes and they'll be done. Alright, so let's just whack one of those on there and see how we've gone. Beautiful.
Alrighty guys. Smells bloody terrific. Just some basic rabbit mince turned into some nice crumbed rissoles with some scalloped potatoes there. Something simple and nice and easy way to cook up your rabbit. So yeah, if people want us to keep doing these sort of videos with the a bit of a cook up with some venison, goat or rabbit or whatever we end up getting, just leave a comment below, give us a thumbs up, and thanks for watching.